one of the easiest, convenient, reliable money transfer app you can get. You can download TapTapSend on Google Play Store or App Store. We download it and then you register. Register and you are good to go to send money across every place, many countries in the world. TapTapSend. Why wouldn't that?
Yankutuna nasio nyamenono. Yanana se wa maya tamfuate shoko. Hey, dia wa ne dia no. Wayama na yamenwanwa. Hey, wayama ne timwa. Atamfuate shoko. Ghana for me the unbreakable joy is blessing. Oh, she HRETV. Kosuana she. Now be inshira unbreakable. Keep it locked.
Check the statistics. What from beaucoup d'État on my big six. We remove all the girls, logistics. You want here top speed, Olympics. Yo, what up, people? It's your boy Natalie, and I'm watching HRETV, man. Keep it locked. Badman operator.
Hello, guys. It's your girl Pamela Odame Watara, and I just want to recommend HRETV for you guys for all your latest interviews. Just stay tuned at HRETV. I love you all guys.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching me live on HRETV. His Royal Majesty. Oh my goodness, I love the name of this TV. HRETV. Oh my goodness. Just catch us live on YouTube. Just go there, HRETV, and click subscribe, and then get updates on everything that they put there, and then watch them also live on Facebook. When you hear the name HRTV, you are talking about television that comes from the heart. Oh, HRTV. Oh, Makuma Tommy Mwati. Me that one say.
Good morning, children. A B C D E F G H R E TV. Go and watch HRE TV. Bye bye.
Hey, Kwakumenu, what can you answer them? Hey, Abwati, what funny mem? Jana Mubeti Maye, guess what? It's the funny face Kwakumenu Senior High School tour. Mental health and saying no to drugs. All senior high schools in Ghana, youths, we only have our life to live. We don't need to make mistakes. Some of us have made some mistakes and we are using it to advise the youth. The mistakes we made, we don't want you to repeat it. Okay? So we are coming to you to educate you, entertain you, pick up talents from senior high schools as well. Entertainment prefects, please call this number 0241 363798. Very necessary to book your place. First come, first serve.
Oh, Medase, Medase. Thank you for having me back. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. Yes, really, I'm humbled to be back, and I think for this is really timely to have this topic in terms of looking at from worn out to well, and really being able to see how we can break burnout or chronic stress. And I do see it as actually a topic for us to think about how we can reset, for us to have a thriving work and life harmony. I'm not going to call it a balance because when balance for me means equal parts, but as we all experience life, that's not how it is. But even looking at it from a whole perspective, a whole person, I would say, a whole personal perspective. So I would say that I'm going to try to do something different from what I did last time. I would want to engage more, and that means I'm going to use more of a seminar format. I don't know if you've been to seminars where it's more about you're here to do the work. It's not all about me talking. So if you have, I'm going to be asking some questions for you to reflect on and be able to share in the chat, the whole audience. So even to start with the audience, again, I'm going to introduce myself, Damali AKUAMOAH, and I've been where many of you might be in terms of surviving burnout. And this is an experience that I had to go through while I was trying to, figure out juggling professional demands, personal responsibilities, until my well-being was at risk, and I had a wake-up call. So that journey led me to coaching individuals and now to actually consulting with organizations to see how they can integrate or wave well-being into the daily operations and culture. And this is mainly because while coaching individuals, I realized that individuals do the work for themselves. But when they get back to the workplace environment, it's some of these workplace environments are more like getting into the oven. So they get baked and then they have to restart redoing the work. So that's what led me into working with organizations. And for me today, I'm happy to be back because I consider this as, service to my community. Right. And as we know, we are as a community of Africans and diasporians across many professions, right? We do know that stress shows up in all of us, but in different ways. But before we get into the depth of what we are going to discuss or kind of have a forum about, I would want us to first do a quick check-in. And if you can hear me, please type where you're joining from in terms of whether city or country, or even just type a one to show that you're really here, because we want you to be able to have that reset and not just listening, but also be actively participating. So I'll take a pause here before I get into some questions. Welcome. Welcome. Okay. Oh, hi, UK. Awesome. This not. Hi, Paulina. I know who Paulina is. Thank you for joining. Thank you. All right. So we'll get that rolling as if you can keep doing that, that's awesome. And there you go. So we do have a community all over, which is very good to know. So as we get into that, I do also have two follow-up questions. One of the questions I would want to ask is that using one word, describe how you felt going to work today. Today is Monday. So we have to be real. Yeah. Not really, not for all. So let's be real and type the rest. Yeah, how did people feel? Some people are off, like personally, I've been off today. I'm still off, but what does Monday, even just today overall, how did you feel coming from the weekend and going back to work or continuing work from the weekend? Because some people, have different shifts. Yeah. Yeah. I love Monday. See, someone loves Monday. Someone was tired. Okay, someone quit their job on Friday. Okay, we'll not get too into that. I hope it's for a good reason. See, love Mondays. So PK, you see, some people love Mondays. Yes. Oh, okay. Wow, but it's that's very valid, and thank you for being honest with yourself and sharing that. So now I'm going to switch and move to a different question in terms of how do you feel about your current work-life harmony? Again, I do use the word harmony in a sense that it could mean harmonize, but in the sense that are you managing well? Do you feel stretched too thin, or do you feel burnout? So again, I'm going to give you a few minutes, just maybe 1 minute, if you can share how you feel about work-life harmony. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good example. So you're leading the flag. We'll take that. Oh. Oh. And I know some people might not be able to type, probably they'll be able to. Mm, mm. Thank you for sharing that. So I do hear some of you carrying the two loads. It could be burnout, from your profession or burnout from family or community. And that's very real, right? And it does matter, managing. Okay. All right. So I am going to move in as more people probably will be sharing. I'll check in on the chat and see if there are additional responses. So burnout is not just a buzzword, right? It's very real. And as was it Juliana who shared? Let me go back to make sure that she quit because of burnout, right? Yes. So it's a very real experience, and you'd see that people in different professions do report symptoms of burnout. In other professions, it shows up as consistent deadlines or workplace politics or juggling multiple responsibilities. Then there are other symptoms that are that are often the same: exhaustion or cynicism, which is more like pessimism. It's more like being the opposite of being optimistic, right? And feeling hopeless, feeling like you're no longer effective. And for many of us in the diaspora, there is also the culture expectations, right? In terms of you have to push through because you'd have to support the family here, you have to support family back home. So, and you find some who, some individuals who have to push themselves to be strong. There's also the our culture expectation of represent us well in spaces where we often actually are under pressure to prove ourselves, right? And not having that forum or space or community where you come back to and say, look, this is what I'm feeling. Has anyone experienced this? And hearing from others who've been able to manage through that. So one of the other question I do have is, again, I said it's going to be work. We are doing work here. I'm not here to talk to you. It's going to be bi-directional. I share and then I ask questions and see just to gauge, what you're feeling, where you are on the journey. So the other question I do have is that, do you feel more stressed by job demands, meaning work demands, or trying to integrate work with everything else in life? Examples could be job demands, the workload is too much. I did mention earlier about feeling, being kind of it's too much that you're really stressed too thin, or the workload is never ending. Then when we think about balancing life, it could be taking care of family after work, and that leaves you exhausted, or it leaves you no time for yourself, really taking care of yourself. So in terms of balancing life, there is what's called the sandwich generation, right? It's like a parent who has to take care of little kids, but also has to take care of the elders or the older parent, their parents. It's like me taking care of my little kids, but also I have to take care of me, perhaps my mom, right? So I'm sort of like in between. So you can find that with some individuals, they're going through that and having those responsibilities and pressing so much weight on, their life. So they are juggling, juggling to say, okay, they have work and they have family responsibilities. And it could also be both in terms of the work is draining, and when you get home, you still feel you have to carry on those responsibilities. So that's what my question is related to in terms of, do you feel more stressed by job demands or by trying to integrate job and work, or trying to have, trying to balance both in terms of work and your life beyond just work. So I'm going to pause here and see if there are any responses to that. Let me go back to the chat. PK, are there any responses to that question? Yeah, that's a major, especially for best friends. Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. And why is that? Promotion. Okay. And how did you, well, I'm gonna use you as my, my person, panelist. Yeah. So how were you able to even manage that? Because I do believe with your experiences, someone could be able to hear from your experiences and take that. Mm. Wow. Mm. Wow, thank you for sharing that. That's really key. Imagine, yeah, family being home, right? But actually, you cannot be really part of what, the family activities. Yeah, so that's yeah, I mean, you managed it through and you're here. It's good to know that at least you that's an experience you took away, but I'm also interesting. It's interesting to find out, okay, if you were in those shoes again, what would you do differently, right? So, okay, without maybe different options, you know what I mean? Yes. Uh, the good thing it did not break you. So, yeah. But I do know the effects of burnout from that. So as we can see that that's more like on a personal level. But now when I shift and say, I think someone mentioned, what's happening at work, workload, um, discrimination or treatment, or what I call mistreatment, or sometimes it's also bias, right? So we do see that workplaces often also respond to burnout, with what I call surface level benefits or perks. It could be free pizza, gift cards, or even mindfulness apps. Some companies are doing great. They have a lot of programs they offer to make sure that everybody finds something that works for them. But let's be real, some of those other surface level, like the mindfulness apps, gift cards, they don't really change the reality of, let's say, the workload, which can be unrealistic. Or even for some areas, it's the long shifts, with people working in long hours, but also the other, I call them the silent inequities. Those I consider as band-aid, right, for a deeper one. So when we really reflect on that, I do know Julian, I think, already shared our response to one of the questions I have is that when you think of that workplace benefit or up, have you seen that actually really help you stress? For example, if you've been offered or invited to pizza parties, do those change the 12-hour shifts? But also, I'm thinking of the 12-hour shifts not because of someone volunteers to say, you know what, I can do beyond 8 hours or beyond 10 hours. But there's this, because that's also the way the work is structured or designed in some areas, especially like in healthcare. But I'm also thinking of, yeah, if the work is designed that it's 12-hour shift non-stop, let's say for 3 days, how does that even impact your work? Is offering gift cards for you, is that a benefit for you to be able to even back the sleep that you might not be getting? Then there is also the wellness apps. They are very nice. But that really, do you even have time to use the wellness apps? So if you have any insights or thoughts on that, feel free to share, and we can be able to share among ourselves and discuss those. Yep. Mm-hmm. Right. Prevent. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. So when we look at from that, right? So you do the in video, then we go into the workplace, but then so how about bringing it all together and say, okay, for the whole person, looking at a framework for that. So that, in terms of moving from survival to thriving. So what I use a framework that I call the release, reconnect, reclaim method. To me, I've seen it works. It's actually it's very practical. It's adaptable, meaning I use it on in videos, but I also use it as a framework for organizations. And it's really rooted in that whole personal holistic well-being. So the part of it in terms of releasing is that you let go of the stress through what I call micro practices. And this can be such as stretching. You'll be surprised the people who go throughout the whole day without thinking of, okay, I need to do the stretching. How about walking? If you find yourself using or seated using the computer a lot, what about increasing your walk in the time of walking? And I think, when we think about taking steps, right, having those more than 8,000 or to 10,000 steps a day, that's what comes to mind. But also for some people, it can be running. They use that as a way to just be able to release the stress, or going to the gym. The other piece of that is also the deep breathing, which is very key. You'll be surprised that a lot of us do not do. We breathe, yes, but we don't do the deep breathing that helps us to really reset the whole nervous system or the whole body to be able to to stay in a neutral, calm environment internally. There is also the option of being able to just be able to write down what you are carrying or what's stressing you. And that way it's a practice that helps to really set things aside if you don't want to talk to anybody about it, or what we call venting. Then there is from that, we have what we call the reconnect. So that phase is really to ground yourself in what gives you joy. This tends to be very sustainable. And this could be music from, home. I'm thinking of high life, Afrobeats, or I'm East Africa, I'm Ugandan. So Lingala comes to mind, really getting to listening to it, but also having movement in it. Movement is very, very important. When you do that movement while you're dancing, it's more dance, for instance, dancing to traditional music. You dance to that, but as you're doing that and take those deep breaths, you realize that it's not just a form of exercise, but it also gives you that level of being able to express yourself. Then there's also storytelling. I think we all know that's we might be losing that culturally, but storytelling, as if you've grown up in Africa and in between maybe the city or the country, what we call the country, right? Or the suburbs, being able to have elders who tell stories and so you learn from that. That's also a good way because you hear these stories, but also being able to connect those stories to what's going on exactly in your life. And just even engaging in a meaningful conversation, like having that, what I call a support system, a person who you can call and talk to, but that person is actually really listening, and their job is not really to really give you advice, because you might be surprised that you have all the answers to yourself, but that person is your listening ear, or they will just ask questions to you, and then you say, oh, what? I did not think about that. So that's the reconnecting portion. So there is also the portion, the third one, again, to the release, reconnect, and reclaim. The reclaim, I do see it as a component that helps you to really protect your energy by setting boundaries. And this could mean not entertaining or getting emails after certain, hour when you get off work, or even taking a lunch break without interruption, right? And this could also mean taking a walk during the day to get some sunlight or get some fresh air. And I'm going to emphasize getting sunlight because we are not getting enough sunlight. And you can imagine as yes, if I finish with this, give me a minute. So taking lunch without interruption, or even saying no without guilt, or not creating also space for negativity or information you might not be interested in. As we are within this period, there's a lot also on media. I'm over the notion when think about energy or nutrition, there's that element of what we are taking in mentally. So the news or what you see on the media can also be part of, how you set your boundaries. When do you watch the news? When do you not watch the news, right? So setting those boundaries around that also can be effective. All right, we can go to the question. Which kind of video games? I think that's what comes to mind. So it depends on what kind of videos, because we have to think about the videos can help if you do it intentionally and the information you're tapping in. If it's videos that are also going to overstimulate you, if you're doing it for a very long time and then you move from the point of joy to being overly stimulated, then that can go the opposite way. But definitely, I think doing it and so okay, I'm going to do this for a limited time just to get that, what I call the high, for you to get that joy. Yes, definitely. You're still using your mentor, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen the video games that are out there? Because some of them, it's videos for violent, very violent video games. You know, I can even with if you have kids, you realize that no, mm-mm. That's beyond joy and excitement. Because if you think about it, the videos are for really violent. Yeah, you would not. Yeah. Of course, yes, because your body your body relaxes and goes into that level where you are really calm. So having good sleep definitely is a good way to release stress. But yeah, and I think to that PK, definitely there are practices you have to do before that. It could be really you calm your You can do yoga. I'm a fan of yoga. And journaling is another way. You put whatever happened there. Writing down, like getting a book and yeah, journaling and note down whatever happened. You put it away. You kind like, you know what, I'm done with that. I'm going to sleep. Okay. All right. So one of the ways, so if I'm going to do, I want to do something, what I want to do is to guide you through a reset practice. So if we can reset together, if you're driving, please do not, just listen in. I would want us to sit comfortably. If you're seated, place your feet flat on the ground and go ahead.
But I think It's fixed because I've had people saying they can hear us now, and Paul Sefa says good evening. Let me tell you, but it could be from your end because I could hear loud and clear. So some people are hearing, some others are not. Samuel Kukuo says I'm watching you. When you ask the question about your location, where you watching from, he's watching from Cincinnati also, and Paul Sefa is watching from Accra, Ghana, and Samuel Kukuo, good ready, okay, and okay, all right.
Okay. All right, so let's do some grounding. I do like to ground a lot. That's what keeps me calm. And so again, let's sit comfortably, place your feet on the ground. And let's take a deep breath, really in and out. So we are going to do it through, we are going to, breathe through the nose and breathe throughout the mouth. So we are going to do that because we just have to release those, whatever is going on or any emotions. So if you can do that. And if you feel comfortable, feel free to close your eyes. And if you're driving, please do not close your eyes. So as you're doing that, imagine yourself walking into, let's say, tomorrow's work day, right? Imagine that you're feeling much lighter, you're feeling calmer, and you're feeling confident. Also picture yourself releasing the load or any weight that doesn't belong to you, or any weight that's from the past, any weight from the future that it hasn't even happened yet. It helps you to remove that anxiety about the future. But also being able to create that space, for carrying what really supports you, what supports your purpose, what supports you throughout the day. So this is a practice that you can return to anytime, anywhere. So when you feel you need to catch a breath, just take that deep breath and really imagine yourself being able to be lighter and much calmer. Okay. So I know I didn't break out through, but we're not gonna do that. So again for this session, I didn't want it to make it too long because when it's too long, then it really defeats the purpose. But I would want to say that burnout and stress do not just live in one profession or one individual goes through it. It really shows up everywhere. And I would want to, I think we've gone through this, being able to see if anyone is interested to share the one stressor they face more often. This is again a space for us to be able to share, what's good or what's going on well, kind of affirming our collective strength, but also looking at what really needs to be improved. And, it starts with us as individuals, right? So if anyone is willing to share the one stressor that they face more often, go ahead and type it in the chat. Okay, someone said that scared me. So can you elaborate on what scared you? Okay, PK, are you there?
I'm here, but then I can barely hear you. I hear
Oh.
a sound, but I could not make I cannot make out what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly now.
Huh, okay. So what I was saying that burnout and stress do not live in, it's not an experience for just one individual or one job. So individuals in different professionals experience it, and it shows up everywhere, right? So my question is, if anyone is willing to share, what is the one stressor that you face more often?
Okay.
But again, what I was saying also earlier is that this space is for us to affirm our collective strengths, because people do different things that are actually going so well. But also it's a space for us to share some of those experiences that we are comfortable with sharing, to see what can be done better. And to add to that, imagine walking into work. So that's
I think that was the part that scares her. She says that it scares her just imagining walking into work.
Okay. Okay, that's deeper. It really needs to, yeah, we can dive deeper into that, but I don't think this is the platform to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. We are going to leave that as is. Okay.
Betha has a question here. No, statement said, not having the boyfriend.
Okay, that's valid. Yeah, we have different stresses. We again, in terms of holistic wellness, which could be finances, it could be work environments, it could be parenting. Some parents go through that. It could be taking care of elderly parents who might not be feeling well. That's also can stress us. Okay, so I would want to close by saying, it's really small steps that create powerful change, and burnout is not a personal weakness. It's a signal from the body, asking for the change. And as I mentioned, it could be a change from you as an individual, or a change from work life, or from environments, or what we call even systems. And but you do have the power to really make those small shifts, because every small shift you do consistently, it actually has a ripple effect into the big change. And I think the closing that I would want to really mention is that we cannot really, as individuals, pour from an empty cup, right? We have to take care of ourselves. It starts with us, being able to do that, and showing, really role modeling with your family. I think when you have family, being that role model, it's a good way to show not only your kids, but also your kid can be at work. You become a role model at work, but also within your community. It shows that, okay, if someone is doing something of it, so they sleep, let's say, more hours, or they're walking, or they exercise, they start the day right, what is termed as right for them, someone else could be inspired to do the same thing. So again, I'm going to pause here, and thank you for being part of this conversation, to be able to move from worn out to well.
All right. Before we proceed to the questions, please, and if you have any question, please put your emoji reaction on, and I will call you for you to ask your question, or if you put any questions in the chat, we're going to ask you as well, or even on Facebook and YouTube, those of you watching us there. I want to make this quick announcement. Next week, our topic for next week is on sickle cell. So we're going to be treating sickle cell next week. So please make sure you spread the word. Let your friends and family and loved ones know, so that we can talk about it. It's not necessarily about you having it, but it may be knowing a family member or a friend who has it, and how best to, manage it. For the meantime, the Tatop Send is on that break. or maybe suspended. These are some of the things that you can do with your app. And again, like I said, you can still download it use the promo code PK. But the first thing is you can receive funds directly to your UK bank account from the USA, Canada, Australia, UAE, and Europe through TapTapSend. So those of you in the UK, you can still receive money from these countries that I mentioned. Secondly, you can make payment to China through TapTapSend. So if you have any merchandise in China or any business out there, you can still make your payment with your TapTapSend app. You can make direct bank transfer payment to some European countries through TapTapSend from the UK. So those of you from the UK can also make payment to some European countries. Also, one thing I want us to address and acknowledge is the fact that TapTapSend has contributed directly or indirectly to the growth of Ghana's economy. Aside the remittance that we sent through our friends and family to Ghana, TapTapSend has also employed over 200 people directly and indirectly, which has helped reduce the unemployment rate in Ghana. And last but one, if you are in the UK, you can send another tapper money to their TapTapSend GB wallet with ease. This is called a wallet to wallet. And you can also surprise a loved one by using TapTap registered number or promo code as well. And finally, please download the app and make sure you put in the promo code P-KAY to get your $15 on your first transaction. If you have any question, please put your hand emojis up so that we can actually ask those questions for you. Any questions at the moment? Or producer, if you don't mind, open up the unmute button so that people can ask questions. We still have about 15 to 20 minutes to throw some questions in there. So there are some chats over here. Let me go ahead and read them. This is from Peter Kwame. Just a second, please. Peter Kwame asked, oh no, actually before that, someone's iPhone. A friend asked me, why do you always mention someone's iPhone? Just say Samuel's, because you might have somebody on as Samuel and other person as Sam, and somebody as Samuel's iPhone 1, 2, 3. So whatever it is what I'm reciting, so that the person know is directed to them. So someone's iPhone asks, I believe stress in general is good, but our reaction to the stressor is what makes it detrimental. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, so there is a thin line between what we call stress and burnout. So that's why I did focus on burnout, because when we get into burnout, that means we are into chronic stress, and it has effects on our bodies. Yes, there is that reasonable good stress, what I call good stress, out of excitement. That's really good for the body. But then there's the overwhelm, the negative overwhelm that really can get into burnout, and which is actually chronic stress.
Okay. Peter Kwame, I see your question, and you will be able to ask that question as soon as we're done with the educational part. That is going to be with the Q&A session with TapTapSend, led by Uncle Jimmy and other the directors and other ambassadors as well. So please, once we get there, please stay on. Do not leave. It's going to be right here on the Zoom line. So please stay on, and your question will be addressed accordingly. All right. At this point, I think you cannot mute yourself. Producer has made it public for everyone to mute themselves. So if you have any question, concerns, contribution, or any addition to this particular topic, please unmute yourself. Also, producers, please put the link to the HRTV and also chat room, and also the link to the Friends of TapTapSend chat room so that others can join. Again, the HRTV chat room is used to discuss topics that we want to treat and here on the platform and deliberate upon future topics. And the Friends of TapTapSend is where we discuss mostly everything, anything, and also TapTapSend's information as well. Anyone has the mic unmuted can ask the question. I heard a voice, but I'm not sure. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Whoever it is, I think kind of went out.
Yes, I have a comment on the topics. That's what we're talking about. And I do not have a question, but I have a comment and stuff.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Please
Oh
chime in with
well,
your comment.
yeah, my name is Peter Kamu, and I get jumped the live, the Zoom, and I heard
Peter,
the
where you
host.
calling from? Peter, where you calling
I'm
from?
calling from the United States, Providence, Rhode Island,
Oh,
and
nice.
I've been using the app to send money back home to my family in Liberia. But
Okay.
I know the topic you got talking about stress, and she said that what are some of the things that cause stress in our life,
Mm-hmm.
and I know we people that live in the diaspora was like especially us that live in the United States, we had a lot of stress on us because we had to support our family back home.
Yes.
So, and I've seen that this app, they tap that app is very helpful to us to sometimes to release a strike or something can add more strike on you because all the time, you have money, you got bills here, you got to pay your bills, but vice versa, you got to send money back home. I know on the app, I only been on the app for like less than a year. I have sent a lot of money back home on this app. And when I look at history, it
Mm.
put a lot of stress on you because some people asking for school fee, somebody going to the hospital. It's easier to send the money, but still you got your bills here, you got your family here to worry about. Then you got to think about your brother and sister or extended family back home. So, it takes a lot of toll on the body. You're working 40, 80 hours a week. You got to make ends meet and also to help other people back home too. So that kind of causes a lot of stress in our life. So definitely it's thing that we got to learn how to manage this. And people that are in the diaspora, when something happened to you, family don't understand it back home. And I know I got a lot of friends here in the United States. Most of them, they are young in their early 40 or late 30. They're all having strokes. Some of them just dropped at the job site because some of them been doing double working overnight all day. And, I see them at a hospital. It's kind of sad to see a young person. And they say, oh, what wrong with this person? But they don't know what he going through at home. He got a lot of stress on him trying to take care of his family here and also people back home, you know? So we really had to learn how to manage stress. We got to learn how to manage this. And I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot at my jobs. I've seen it a lot, friends, family members, and stuff.
It's
That's
very
good.
real. Yeah. Peter, thank you for sharing that. That's very real. And it's something I touched on in terms of balancing the responsibilities here and then responsibilities to support family back home. You're managing that. It's a personal way, I think, of managing because I can't really give you advice on that. But it's a matter of figuring out. I did mention in terms of the release, reconnecting and reclaiming and figuring out what works for you within that framework in terms of releasing, but you have family here and family home who you have to help, that's in us, but where do you also draw the line in terms of making sure that your priorities are also taken care of? So that's the best I could add.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. And, that's something we definitely got to share with our community around here. And I personally am not speaking up for myself, but I'm thinking about family and friends, church member, people we see around, They kind of try to burn the candle on both ends. And at the end of the day, you're not progressing, you're not going anywhere in life. And it's really taking to a lot of our brother and sister in the diaspora. I don't know about other country, but I'm thinking mainly speaking of the United States, and I see a lot of the people at the hospitals and other places that will work, and it's sad because, you know, it's sad to see our brother and sister and like that. So that's something really I'm happy like I locking late in the middle. I didn't know what you were talking about. Then I heard about you talking about stress and it's a good topic to discuss among our people and stuff like that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's funny. Seth said deleting the history on startup send to distress. But there is the irony of that is Peter already asked that earlier, and I told him that question was gonna get taken care of during the Q&A session when this show is over. and kind of segue that into that transition that if we, because sometimes if you look at how much you've sent back, it was like, wow, I did all that, and now you started falling into that. Any other questions or contributions that anyone want to chime in so that Sister DAMALIE can help us resolve that?
Can I add something to Peter? I think in terms of the
Go
help.
ahead.
So he did mention stroke. You'd see that actually there is stroke is very common among us, our community. And yes, even with the responsibilities, one of the factors I touched on is being able to take care of yourself, making time to walk or to prepare meals. I think there was a webinar actually on that, and the lady beautifully touched on how to do the meal planning, right? Eating right. I did also touch on getting sunlight. We are not getting enough sunlight as melanated people. I'm going to use that word on this platform because we do need, we as sun people, we need to have a lot of natural vitamin D. We are not getting enough of that. So creating time to take walks and just be out in the sun is really key. There are people, unfortunately, who can work long hours and not be able to get that, but it's very, very helpful. And some research actually has shown that you would see that even just exposing our hair, melanated hair or kinky hair to the sun, it does such, there's an effect on that because you're getting, and I don't mean the mid-afternoon sun, I'm talking about the early morning, sunlight and the late evening, sunrise and sunset. If you can take those hours and the opportunity comes whenever you can, do that. Take walks, even if it's for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. If you want to be doing that while you're chatting on your phone, that's okay, but at least you're still getting the sunlight, also you're getting the fresh air.
Okay.
And walking, yeah, so exercise.
Any other question? I think
regarding, is it okay to listen podcasts and audible to sleep?
Oh yeah, from the neck, yeah.
Yes. Depending on what you're listening to again. Because you have to be mindful not to put your brain into the active stage when you're sleeping as well. So be mindful of that as well. And I know there's someone, another expert did mention that, yes, the distance you're putting your phone away from you too, because also remember you're having additional exposure to Bluetooth or UV radiation, right? So that's still, for me, that's something I still have to do more research on because I honestly do listen to some music before bedtime that helps me to go to sleep, but it's not the podcast or audible.
Okay. Any question from the audience? Concerns, contributions? Please unmute yourself and just tell us where you're calling from. If you're speaking, I can't hear you. DAMALIE, wait.
It's a little bit of a quiet audience today. So
yes, yeah. And sometimes I take it in a good way if it's well explained. If it's well explained,
yes,
no need for
it's
further
reflective.
questions. Yeah,
reflecting.
Yeah,
because this is real conversation. We are not sugarcoating anything here. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna give it. We still got. We can give it another 3 minutes and see if anyone has anything to chime in with. And if not, okay, then we will call it a day. But do you have any contact information that people can reach out to you for any wellness or
consulting?
Yes.
Yes, so I'm on the forum, the HRE TV forum. Okay. So if you can contact me directly from there, I'm open to that. Primarily on WhatsApp.
Okay, so if you don't mind, type the number in there too, so that those that are not on it can actually have access
Sure.
to you. So 3 takeaways that she posted in the chat. I'm gonna read that, and after that, I'm gonna have director sign off. Was what is one stressor you are ready to release this week so it no longer drains your energy?
That's homework.
Bad energy, friends.
That's homework.
Number 2 is how can you reconnect with joy, culture, or practices that ground you when life feels overwhelming, doing what you love most. And number 3, what boundary or routine will you reclaim to protect your well-being and shows up stronger for work, family, and community, doing the opposite of number 1. All right, thank you very much. We're gonna let okay, so hey, number to contact on WhatsApp to book some sessions for some wellness is 212-203-1482. And if you are actually going to save a number outside the United States, please make sure you add +1. So +1 212-203-1482. Again, the number is +1 212-203-1482, and her name is Mrs. DAMALIE AKUAMOAH.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Director, can you please? Rex came up with a question, so we're not gonna leave the room with that. Hello, everyone. This is my first time connected to the line. I'm in Canada. This is great. Thank you so much. A Tatapsen question. Okay, so Rex, your question will be answered during the Tatapsen session, which is right away after this one. So please hang on tight. Any questions or concerns that you have with Tatapsen is going to come through. All right. So at this point, can director please sign out our sister for such a great job. By the meantime, Damalie, I want to say thank you so much for honoring our invitation and coming in to interact with us. With yours, I don't call it presentation, I call it interaction. Interact with us. God bless you. Director, A-Class or Director Daniel?
Yeah, for a Damana say, Enyaba, Equiazuzugami, in shop for the good work you're doing for God and country. Really appreciate it a lot. Was as somebody said, you don't know the level of stresses that people go through, but at least these things, try to get some relief through the system of other people as well. So thank you very much for making time, and also thank you very much for educating us and opening our eyes on so many things that we normally neglect. We really appreciate it. God bless you, and thank you very much once again.
All right. Thank you. And again, just a reminder, next week we will be talking about sickle cell. So we have a special guest who will be coming on for the first time. The similarities between this sickle, I was about to say the sickle cell. This special guest is, he went to the same school that our previous doctor went to, D. Opokuwari. I must say, you kind of say D. Opokuwari, not just Opokuwari, but D. Opokuwari. So we have another Owarian, Okatechiarian, coming in next week to talk to us about sickle cell. All right. So at this point, I want to say thank you guys very much for your time, your dedication, and your support, unwavering support as usual. God bless you all for making it to today's topic and trading days excessively. I will urge each and everyone to please invite as many friends that we can next week, so that we can actually have this education in terms of sickle cell. Like I said, it may not be directly you or someone close by, but it could be something that you can actually impact into the people that are in your lives as well, and not necessarily a family member, but a friend or maybe somebody that you go to church with. Thanks to all our sponsors for being there and also being supportive to this wonderful show, Time with Tatapsen. And again, once again, thanks so much to you, wherever you are, especially those watching us from UK, Germany, Ghana. The time difference is very vast. Even Asia, Middle East, and Dubai, the time difference is very, very vast. And you guys are still making time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. God bless you all. See you all next week. And this is where we end the educational part of it. and this is where the Zoom, no, this is where the Facebook and the YouTube ends. So if you have any questions or concerns or contributions, additions that you want to add to Startup, please join us at the Q&A session, and that will be done on Zoom. So please click on the Zoom link and join over here whilst Uncle Jimmy and the team takes over. God bless you all. See you guys next week, same time, same year. And again, big thanks to all my producers. God bless you all. Bye-bye.